What if true happiness after 60 has nothing to do with finding a partner? We've all been told a story, that once you reach your golden years, being single means being lonely. But what if that story is outdated, even harmful? Across the United States, more and more people over 60 are beginning to question whether chasing a relationship is the only path to fulfillment. They're finding joy in places that don't fit the old mold of romance, reconnecting with childhood passions, traveling solo, building tight-knit friendships, and even starting entirely new chapters of life that have nothing to do with dating. Imagine waking up without the pressure of finding someone, and instead asking, "What do I want to explore today?" For some, it's joining a hiking group. For others, it's launching a small online business, mentoring the next generation, or finally writing that book they've always dreamed of. These choices spark a different kind of love, the love of freedom, of discovery, of meaningful connection beyond romance. So, do you really need a partner after 60? Or is the real secret about finding connection, joy, and purpose in places you never thought to look? Stay with us because what comes next may completely reshape the way you think about love and happiness in your later years. Let me introduce you to Evelora. Not a name you hear every day, right? That's part of what makes her story unforgettable. Evelora is 67 years old, living in a quiet Ohio town where the seasons change dramatically. From snowy winters that blanket her porch to summers filled with the laughter of children playing nearby. She lost her husband nearly a decade ago, and like many seniors, she faced a tidal wave of well-meaning advice. You should start dating again. You need someone to keep you company, or the classic, don't you get lonely all by yourself? At first, Evelora believed those voices. She thought being widowed meant she was incomplete, that her worth depended on pairing up again. But what makes Evelora so relatable is that she didn't just resign herself to loneliness. She wrestled with it. She went on a few awkward dates, joined a senior social club that focused mostly on matchmaking, and even tried an online dating app designed for older adults. Each time, she walked away feeling more exhausted than fulfilled. Then something shifted. Evelora began to ask herself a powerful question that many people over 60 in the US are now asking. What if my happiness isn't about replacing what I lost, but about rediscovering who I am? That question opened a door. She signed up for a local nature walk, not to meet someone, but simply to move her body and breathe fresh air. She reconnected with painting, a hobby she had abandoned decades ago while raising her kids. Soon, she found that her calendar wasn't empty anymore. It was alive with activity, filled with laughter from friends who shared her passions, not just her relationship status. Evelora's story matters because it mirrors what's happening in real life. A growing number of seniors across the US are embracing independence, friendship, and personal growth instead of feeling pressured to dive back into romance. Her journey shows us that fulfillment after 60 doesn't always come in the form of a partner. It can come from choosing yourself, your joy, and your freedom. And here's the part that will surprise you. Evelora didn't reject love altogether. Instead, she redefined it. She found love in the conversations she had while painting alongside new friends. She found love in mentoring a younger neighbor who admired her strength. She even found love in the quiet moments of walking her dog at sunset, realizing she was at peace with herself. Evelora is not just a widow in Ohio. She's a reflection of the countless seniors today who are rewriting the story of love after 60. Her journey proves that sometimes the most powerful relationship you can build is with your own life. Tip 1. The myth of incompleteness. For decades, society has quietly whispered to seniors, "You're only whole if you're with someone." Movies, TV shows, even advertisements often paint aging alone as sad or tragic. But here's the reality. More older adults in the US are thriving outside traditional partnerships than ever before. According to recent trends, seniors are joining travel groups tailored for solo explorers, taking classes at community colleges designed for lifelong learners, and engaging in hobbies that were once pushed aside by work and family obligations. This shift shows that happiness after 60 isn't about filling an empty chair at the dinner table. It's about filling your days with purpose. Tip 2. Love beyond romance. Love does not vanish when romance fades. It simply changes form. For seniors, Some of the deepest bonds come not from dating, but from connections that enrich daily life. Imagine volunteering at a local food pantry where your kindness brightens someone's day, or mentoring a young professional who sees you as a guiding light. These moments create a sense of belonging and love that's every bit as powerful as romantic companionship. Seniors across the country are building chosen families of friends who check in daily, share meals, and travel together. This kind of love is practical, accessible, and lasting. If you've ever wondered where to find connection, start by asking yourself, who needs my presence, wisdom, or kindness today? The answer may surprise you. Tip 3. Evelora's turning point. Remember Evelora, our 67-year-old from Ohio? Her transformation wasn't sparked by a dating app or a blind date. It happened the day she decided to join a senior hiking group. At first, she was hesitant. She hadn't hiked in years, and she worried she'd slow others down. But the opposite happened. She discovered a community of peers who valued laughter over speed, shared stories while resting under trees, and encouraged her to push just a little further each time. Evelora realized that the joy she was chasing wasn't tied to romance at all. It was in feeling alive, supported, and part of something bigger. That one choice cascaded into new friendships, improved health, and a renewed sense of vitality. Evelora's journey reminds us that after 60, love doesn't need to be defined by a partner. It can be defined by connection, passion, and purpose. Whether it's through hobbies, service, or community, the path to joy is open to anyone willing to take the first step. One of the most powerful parts of this conversation is hearing from you, the people living it. Every person over 60 carries a different story, a different perspective, and when those stories are shared, they create a ripple effect of encouragement for others. So let's pause here and talk directly to you. Have you ever felt that subtle, or not so subtle, pressure to find someone, just because you're single? Maybe family members keep asking, when are you going to start dating again? Or perhaps friends assume that without a partner, you must be lonely. If you've experienced that kind of pressure, you're not alone. And your voice matters. Share your experience in the comments. Not only does it help others feel less isolated, but it also challenges those old stereotypes about what life after 60 should look like. Here's another question that strikes to the heart of this topic. If you had to choose today, would you rather embrace independence and live life on your own terms, or would you seek companionship through a new relationship? There's no right or wrong answer, but your perspective could help someone else who's sitting at home, unsure of what direction to take. Type your answer below. Independence, companionship, or maybe a balance of both. And explain why. And here's a thought to reflect on. What's the most surprising way you've found connection in your later years? It might have been through a book club, a gardening group, a church choir, or even chatting with neighbors during your morning walk. These little stories are powerful because they show that connection isn't just found in romantic relationships. It's everywhere, waiting to be noticed. Share your story because you never know who might be inspired by it. Your comments don't just sit at the bottom of the video. They become part of a living conversation where seniors encourage one another, laugh together, and sometimes even form real friendships beyond the screen. So don't hold back. Drop your thoughts, your stories, and your insights in the comments right now. Here's something that might surprise you. The next idea has nothing to do with dating apps, speed dating events, or signing up for yet another singles group. In fact, it's the complete opposite of what most people expect when they think about finding love or connection after 60. Why? Because too often we've been taught to look for answers in the same old places. Apps, matchmaking, or rushing into relationships. But what if the real secret to joy in your later years lies somewhere completely different? Imagine unlocking happiness in a way that doesn't depend on who sits across from you at dinner, but instead on how you fill your own days with meaning. That's the twist most seniors never see coming. And here's where it gets exciting. Across the US, a quiet movement is happening among older adults who are choosing paths that bring fulfillment without a single date involved. They're joining cultural exchange groups that connect retirees with young travelers, building intergenerational friendships that feel just as rich as family. They're embracing solo travel for seniors, a trend that's exploding right now, with companies designing trips specifically for those who want community without pressure. Some are even diving into new forms of technology, not to find romance, but to discover virtual communities where laughter, learning, and support flourish daily. The truth is, if you're only looking for love in the traditional sense, you might be missing out on experiences that are even more rewarding. And the best part, these opportunities often lead to connections that feel more authentic, because they're rooted in shared passions, not just relationship status. So here's the question. Are you ready to explore possibilities that go beyond the predictable? Because what's coming next will challenge the way you think about connection after 60, and it might just spark the kind of joy you never expected. Stay with me because the next insight could completely shift your perspective on love, happiness, and what it really means to feel fulfilled in this stage of life. And now we circle back to the heart of this entire conversation. Do you really need a partner, or do you simply need connection? It's a question that has no single answer, because it isn't about what society tells you or what your friends expect. It's about what makes you feel alive. For Evelora, that answer came in a surprising form. She realized she didn't need someone to complete her. She needed people, passions, and purpose that made her days brighter. The laughter of friends on a trail, the satisfaction of creating art again, the warmth of mentoring a younger neighbor. All of these were forms of love. None of them required a romantic label, yet they filled her heart in ways she never thought possible. And this is where the transformation becomes powerful. Love after 60 doesn't follow a single script. For some, yes, it may mean opening your heart to a new partner. For others, it may mean deepening friendships that feel like family, nurturing bonds with children and grandchildren, or discovering joy in activities that reconnect you to yourself. What matters is that the choice belongs to you. Not to outdated expectations, not to cultural pressure, and not to anyone else's timeline. This stage of life is not about shrinking into the background. It's about expansion. Expansion of joy, of courage, of love in its many shapes and colors. And the beauty is, you are in full control of the path you choose. Whether you're holding the hand of a new companion, laughing with lifelong friends, or walking confidently into a room alone but radiant with purpose, you are writing your own love story. So let's reframe the way we think about it. Love after 60 is not about finding the one, but about embracing the many. The many ways connection can show up. The many ways fulfillment can take root. The many ways you can wake up every morning knowing that your life has meaning. Evelora's journey is just one example, but it's proof that love after 60 is not something you wait for. It's something you create. And the most empowering part, it doesn't have to look like anyone else's version of happiness. It only has to look like yours. If Evelora's story stirred something in you, even just a little spark, then let this be your reminder that you're not alone on this journey. There are thousands of people right here in this community who are walking the same path, asking the same questions, and searching for the same kind of fulfillment. That's the beauty of this channel. It isn't just about watching a video. It's about being part of a larger conversation that celebrates love, connection, and purpose after 60. So, if her journey inspired you, do something small but powerful. Hit that like button. It may seem like a simple click, but every time you do, it tells YouTube to show this video to more seniors who need encouragement. You could be the reason someone else discovers this message at the very moment they need it most. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe. Subscribing is how you stay connected to stories, insights, and conversations that are tailored for you, not for younger generations who don't understand the unique beauty and challenges of this stage of life. By subscribing, you're saying, yes, I want to be part of a space that uplifts and empowers seniors everywhere. Finally, share this video. Maybe you have a friend who's been widowed and struggling to see a way forward. Maybe you know someone who says, I guess I'm too old for love. Or maybe you have a sibling, a neighbor, or even a parent who could use a gentle reminder that happiness after 60 is not only possible, it's waiting for them. Sharing this video is more than a gesture. It's giving someone else the gift of hope. And before you scroll away, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What does love after 60 look like for you? Is it romance, friendship, family, or simply reconnecting with yourself? Your answers help build a space where everyone feels seen, valued, and inspired. So let's do this together. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Because love after 60 doesn't follow one path. It follows many. And this community is where those paths meet.